Hey everyone, Rick here with the Ditch Pig. Today, we're swapping the seats out in the Ditch Pig. Just took the time to take the seat out here. It's only 4 bolts. I always store tools and everything and extra fluids in behind the seat and whatnot, so I had to get rid of all that, put that in a cardboard box, and grab the seat out of this thing. So I got that sitting on the bed. It's getting in pretty rough shape as far as the upholstery goes. This I noticed is bent. I don't know how that happened, but I also took the time to get the Denali seats out. So that's the second row seat, and this is obviously the back. The bottom seat section hooks onto here, and it can flop forward and backwards. So I'll throw this piece in first, kind of get an idea where it's going to go. I did some measurements beforehand, but might have to do some cutting and build some tabs and framework or whatnot to get this to work. Okay, the seat's in. We obviously have it way too high, and that's because of the framework that's underneath of the seat itself. I was hoping I wouldn't have to cut too much off of it, but it looks like I'm gonna have to cut off absolutely everything that I can, which means to this bracket here, which is the actual mechanism for tipping the seat and whatnot, I'm gonna have to cut it way back to there. So to eliminate all of this into here, I'll have to build something. Maybe I'll take these and cut these off and weld them to the floor here. I never really thought about this, but because of the steering wheel, obviously I won't be able to lift the seat right up. I'll be able to get some throw on it, but maybe enough just to get my arm down inside to grab something. But yeah, right now that's where we're sitting, and obviously that's not enough. And when I'm in it, my head's almost hitting the roof, so we'll have to lower it down for sure some. Just to give you an idea, before 8 inches was where that seat sat, the other one. So we're looking at 14 at the corner now. For me to take that bracketry down, we're looking at 4.5 inches. So that's gonna put us right about 9.5. I think I'm good with that. I wanted it a little higher anyway. Sit me up farther, it'll give me a little bit better field of view as far as when I go wheeling and whatnot. So yeah, that's the next step. I'm gonna take all this bracketry off, and I'll have to trim it. I'll mark it beforehand. The part that is a bit of an inconvenience is the other side is not exactly the same. It's a completely different setup and height and whatever, so I'll have to account for that and figure it out, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. I got this blocked up on this side, and like I say, I think I'll have to cut this off here, but I don't think I'll need any more. This piece here comes out and hooks to the other part of the seat, the other 40% of the seat. I don't know if I'm going to end up using that or not. So yeah, I'm going to get all this framework unhooked. I've already got most of the bolts out. I just took everything out and then put a couple in it to hold it in place so I could try to see how it sat. So I'll pull the rest of those out after I mark everything and start chopping. All right, so I got this marked now. This is basically the outline of where that metal framework of the back of the seat goes. I'll cut along there, and I think what I'll do is just weld tabs either in or out and bolt them right through the floor. Right, Callie? Okay, we got this all trimmed up. That's what we're gonna go with. Just gotta put this back on there, bolt it down, and I'll just weld some tabs out from this, I guess. I don't know how far I'm gonna have to go to miss this angle here, but I'm gonna try to miss it. I don't mind this being a little bit farther ahead because it puts me a little closer to the pedals. I had the seat all the way ahead and I was able to push the clutch in to the floor, but that was it. So a little bit more forward's not gonna hurt, it's gonna help. But obviously I gotta get this bolted back together so I can set it up and get a good feel for it, where it's gonna be, because it will not be adjustable after it's welded, obviously. So I want it to be dialed exactly where I want it and how I need it to be. Not 100% sure, but I think I'm gonna be using these seat belts. I'll just get rid of this and hook this to it. The center belt, I can use this and that will work out perfect. And I'll just do the same thing with the passenger belt that I did for the drivers. So yeah, these things here that I got cut off, I'll probably just slice and dice these across here. Then I'll weld them to the floor somehow like that so that I can hook the front of the seat where it pivots. Like I say, lots more to figure out. I'm gonna leave it for tonight. I'm gonna go in and have some supper, shut her down. I go to work tomorrow. The weekend I have off, so I'll go back at this again. I'm hoping to have this wrapped up, because obviously until then, I can't drive the truck. All right, welcome back to a new day. And I'm hitting this thing with a vengeance, trying to get it finished up. like to have it going by the end of the day where I can hop in it and go for a drive. So here's what it looks like blocked up. It's approximately where things are going to sit. I'll have to obviously fine tune and tweak some stuff. I've got wooden stuff braced everywhere. Just ignore the far passenger seat though, because that isn't exactly where it's going to be. That needs some tweaking and adjusting. I'll get this lined up first. That side there has to come up just a little bit, but no big deal. It's not a lot. I'll be able to tweak it once I get the brackets in place before I weld them. So first off, I'll take care of this. I'll probably just come down like this with a bracket, maybe one there too. These will be done after the fact. Right now I just got that kind of braced in place, but this part of the seat, obviously it comes right off, so I'll take that off, deal with this, and then get back to this. So yeah, I gotta cut some tabs to make some brackets, and then I'll just fire this thing up and start nuking. Okay, here's the brackets I got fabbed up. I'll weld them to the seat brackets like that, and then drop a bolt down through. One of the bolts will be actual factory bolt hole in the floor now, but the rest of them I'll have to drill and put a nut on the other side. So I'll gear it up. So basically we'll go like this, and this one here like that. And what I'm gonna do is I'll weld this on, and then I'll put a reinforcing piece on the floor here. It'll lift this up a bit because I need this up just a little bit more. And these two will go like that. That'll solve that problem. And then, like I say, I'll just figure something out for this. Weld something in there, and the seat should be mounted. And as always, I disconnected the Holley Terminator computer. I got the power disconnected in these two so that there's nothing going to that, so the welder doesn't end up frying something. Better safe than sorry. Alright, I got everything welded in here so far for the back mounts, and I even got that piece welded into the floor. The only issue I had was I barbecued my CB antenna cable a little bit, but she's still intact, so yeah, I just moved that over. I'll have to drill this hole, no big deal, and then it'll be on to the front mounts. So I'm going to slice these across here and just take this section off, because this is what hooks to the seat, right? And I don't need the rest of this garbage here, so I'll clean them up a bit and they'll work perfect. This one here, I think I'm gonna have to cut across here, because the way that my transmission tunnel comes up like that, that hump is gonna stop me from putting that bracket in there. Safety first, you guys. Always use your PPE.
All right, you guys. It's legit been a week since I touched this thing, because I came down sick and spent days trying to recover from that. I'm still not 100%. The deal is I got those brackets hacked up in the last video. Yeah, got that done, got them all cleaned up, ready to weld on. That's where it got left off. That's where we're gonna go today. But the seat is looking stellar sitting in there. So I gotta clean this up a bit, get some of the paint off, and I'll go at it and weld those on. All right, I got these all nuked in. I put an excessive amount of weld on them because I didn't want them to come off ever. These are groovered up so bad because I used that to make up the gap, so I just built a pedestal out of weld. I have a tendency of doing that sometimes because yeah, instead of cutting more metal or whatever, I just build it with weld. Not exactly the best practice in the world, but I do it irregardless. So yeah, now I'll just jam the seat in, see how that pans out. There we go. It's all bolted in. Let's see if this thing pivots. Yes, sir. So that gives me access to underneath the seat. Obviously, I used it before, but this will give me easier access to it. One issue with this side is the steering wheel obviously plays a role in not allowing this to flop ahead far enough. I'm not going to worry about that too much. It's kind of insignificant to me. I just want to be able to reach under there, you know, grab a pair of gloves or a rag or the pack of wrenches or something, pull them out. Another thing that I am going to have to address with this, in order to flop this seat ahead, there's a lever here. It used to be activated by this. When it went ahead, there were some cables and whatnot. those cables are gone. So I'm gonna have to figure out something to pull that, and it has to happen on both sides. That way I'll be able to take the seat ahead so I can get in here where there's cargo. Not a super huge deal, but I'll have to figure something out. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. So now I just gotta figure out the other seat. So I'll grab those and get them laid in there and see how the bracketry's gotta go and whatnot, and start cutting and grinding for that. All right, I've been messing with this for a while. I got it pretty much figured out. I had the other piece in here too. Trying to figure out like how high that's gonna be. I got 2 pieces of plywood here. There's a bump on the floor. That adds about 1/4 inch. So I need about 1 1/4 inches. And that gets me pretty much where I gotta be. I got a block of wood behind here to hold that out. It's probably not bang on, but it'll be what it'll be, right? Crappy part is I gotta figure out an angle for this. And so yeah, it'll be 1 1/4 inches here, and then right back to nothing. I'd have to build complete custom brackets for that. Once this is mounted, then I can worry about the rest of it. These are how these seats originally bolted down, with these brackets. I chopped them up. Hopefully I can get them to work right. Like I was saying inside the cab of the truck before, the biggest deal is they're cut on an angle. I took and made a cardboard template. That's the angle I need. It starts at basically almost nothing. I'm gonna cut this on the angle. Hopefully it pans out. Got to do both sides the same and both brackets the same. Then I'll take this and I'll pop it up inside. It's got a hole here. I'll just weld it so that it stays in place. All right, I got my angles cut off. I got these things in place with a little bead weld on them so they don't come out. I've also got these brackets taken off. Those are the front of the seat. So I don't know if these are gonna work or not because I haven't tried them. And I'm gonna go in and have something to eat because it's getting late. And Pam's almost got supper ready, so I'll come back at this tomorrow and hopefully those will line up perfect. Be able to bolt the seat in and then get these geared up. All right, everyone, I've been back at it. I just got done wire wheeling the floor where I'm gonna weld these brackets on. These didn't turn out too bad. They fit pretty good. I am gonna have to angle them just a tiny bit towards the back to get them exactly where I think I need them. This bracket here is gonna sit out like this, just the way that the floor has got this cutaway in it. So I'm gonna have to build something to come up to grab onto the bottom of this and help hold it into place. Pretty straightforward. It was a little bit more work than I thought it would be. All right, I got these brackets tacked in place. This is what it looks like. Just got a light tack on each corner just to hold them in place. I did build this piece underneath of here to help hold this in place. That turned out pretty good. Once those brackets are welded down solid, I can put the seat back on it and bolt it down. Then I'll be able to mock up those front brackets and get them in place. I just had the seat in there looking at it, and it probably won't be too big a deal. I'll just have to cut those brackets to length and weld them to the floor and done deal. Whew, I ain't gonna lie, it's pretty warm in the cab of this truck welding. Those are solid. Now let's put the seat in. Look at that, they still fit. It's a miracle. They twist it up a little, but the nuts will draw it down. Sweet. All right, we got her, boys. Now if you want to fold the seat down, access to everything back here. All right, I got these things cut to length. They're in place, I got them marked. I just gotta pull them out of there, wire wheel, and weld them. Okay, other than paint, these things are done. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There are wires in this thing for heated seats, and I don't have those hooked up. But other than that, they're done. So here's what we got. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. I use these buckles here for the seat belts. The middle belt can use the actual seat belt that comes in the seat. It's part of it. But instead of taking the ones of the Denali and trying to gear them up to this, I just use these.
and I'll just use those. Both the seats do this. That one there, where it goes up as far as the steering wheel, obviously, and that's the end of that one, but I can still pop it up and get in underneath of there and access anything that I need. Like I say, super happy with how they turned out. The only thing left to do
is take her for a test drive.
Go! Fucking idiot. Went over to Tim Hortons, tried out my cup holder for the first time.
How'd it work?
Mint. Check it out, man.
Man, them nice.
Right? And
oh, you did weld the Ronnie job. That's what he's gonna do. Weld his right in.
I put brackets in.
That's what his does too.
I put the brackets in. You can unbolt them and take them out, but yeah.
Yeah, just weld that piece of the floor.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
All right, you guys. That's it for this video. It's great having these seats in here. I love them. Super comfortable. Thanks for watching, you guys. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.